me, so it's May. It's the first week of May, so we'll be taking a look at what's happening in April. Sales are up, inventory is up, but what's happened with sales price? I'll give you one guess. It's up. Sales price is up as well when you look at the average. So yeah, today we'll be taking a look at all the data on what happened in the market in the month of April, and I'll be talking about what the outlook looks like for buyers and sellers in the next couple of weeks. So stick with me. Hi there, my name is Jaleesa McLennan. I'm a Houston area real estate agent, and my former life used to be a business analyst, so I love digging into numbers. And what better way to exploit that than to take a look at what's happening in the real estate market, taking a look at the numbers, the data. I promise to give you just the data, no drama, and come to your own conclusions about what's really going on in the Houston area market. Now, I talk about Houston area, so I'm talking about everything in the HER MLS, which covers, of course, the city of Houston itself and the surrounding cities, as far north as Montgomery, Texas, and as far south as Galveston. So we'll be taking a really holistic view of that area. So first thing I want to talk about right off the bat is sales. How were the sales? Well, if we take a look at the sales data provided by HER MLS, we'll see that for the month of April, we had 7,829 listings sold. That's for single family homes in the Houston area. Now, that's a pretty good number when you think that we had active listings about 27 or so thousand listings. So it's a good average. But let's put this in context. Let's see what the last year's sales look like. So we're going to go change the date criteria and pull up some more information. So if we see going as far back as January 2023, we'll see definitely sales were a bit on the low side. We came up a bit in the months of April, May, June. We saw a little bit of a spike, came down again, came all the way down to about 5,000 or so in January of this year. But we've seen that there's a steady increase in sales. And the month of April, see where we are. Now, if we look at what happened last year, when we hit around April, May, we saw an increase. So if we're going to prove true to form, it's very likely as we move further into the summer months that we'll see an increase in sales. So it's something to think about both for persons who are buying and selling, especially sellers. It means that the chances of you being able to sell your property actually improve as we head into the summer months. And most people know that anyways. During the summer, people are moving, especially people with kids. So it's the time when people really decide, okay, I need to make that move, I need to put my house in the market, or I need to buy. So we've seen sales, but what about how long it's taking for homes to sell? Let's check out the graph on average days to get under contract. Right, so for the month of April, we were at about 46 days. So that's a reduction from the last couple of months where we've been 52, as much as 55, I think, back in January. So we see that it's taking a little less time for homes to actually get under contract, which is a good thing, especially good for sellers. Like if you do need to sell, the chances are improving that you'll actually be able to get a sale in less than 2 months. But let's just compare, look at the previous year and see what that tells us. So very similar story happening here. If we look at last year, April, we were at about 51 days. It actually dropped as we went into the summer, came back up again as we started the year this year, and we see it's slowly declining. So the odds are pretty good that as we push on into the summer of this year, that the days to sell, the average days to sell, will likely go down. Now, some may be saying that it was a different story last year compared to this year when it comes especially to interest rates. Not so much so. If I turn to my faithful Freddie Mac graph, and if I take a look at what interest rates were like last year, April. So last year, April, we had rates over 6%. We had rates as high as 6.4% last year, April. And if we look at where we are right now, we'll see that last month we were in the high sixes. We actually even hit 7%, over 7%. As we saw, the Fed met last month. They opted not to decrease interest rates, but they still are committed to decreasing or cutting interest rates at least once or twice before the year ends. Now, as we know, what the Fed says only one part of the story when it comes to mortgage interest rates, but usually does seem to move in parallel order. So we always look and wait and see what the Fed has to say. But so far right now, we seem to be going up. All the experts seem to point to the fact that we'll be coming down. But the thing is, I always tell people, when you look at these averages, like you look at websites like Freddie Mac or maybe your local bank, and you see, okay, this is the average interest rate. This is the average, but this is not necessarily a reflection of what you are going to get. What you're going to get is going to be dependent on your down payment, your credit score, sometimes even the area or whatever programs you're involved in. And of course, if you're working for a builder, your interest rate could be so much lower. I know people that last month were pulling in under 5% interest rates in some communities. So we've talked about sales, we've talked about days on the market. Let's talk about average sales price. That's what everybody wants to know, because everybody's eagerly awaiting for sales prices to go down. Let's see. So our average sales price is over $400,000. And get the exact number, $436,102. If we compare, let's go back a year. Let's go back to 2023 and see where we are. So we see back in January 2023, we were under 400,000. There was a bit of an increase as we pushed into the summer, like what seems to be happening right now. We came back down, a little spike here in the end of the year, but we came back down in January. We were under $400,000, actually $389,572, and we see a steady increase. And in April, we're almost at $440,000. Now that's really interesting, because one of the things that interest rates are spiking. They're a little higher than where we expected. They're a little higher than a lot of people want, but we still see prices are going up. People are willing to spend the money to purchase homes. And that's telling us a couple of things. Definitely, I think buyers are getting a bit more used to the new environment, that these are the interest rates, and they're making adjustments perhaps in the type of home they buy, maybe decisions made on maybe using a bigger down payment. They're using various strategies to try and get into a home, and so we see that reflected in the sales. As always, I have to mention with things like days to get under contract and even if sales prices, we also have to remember what I'm showing you is an average. You have communities where this is more true than other communities. You have some communities where days to close may be as much as 60 days. And you have some communities where days to close 21 days. You have some communities where the sales price has gone down to under $300,000. You have some communities where the sales price is over $400,000. So it really depends, and that's why it's really important to talk to someone like me and really understand if you're selling, what the reality is in your community, like how quickly homes are selling, or the prices homes are selling for, or if you're buying the same thing, like the community you're interested in going into, what's the reality there? Can you get a deal or not? Do you need to be a bit more aggressive in how you purchase a home because the demand is high for that particular community? One more graphic I wanted to point out this week, I thought was really interesting, is the comparison of the original listing price versus what the home actually closed for. I thought that was really interesting and really telling. So let's check out what's been happening for the year. Let's pull out this graphic. Okay, so I thought this was really interesting. So in January here, we're about 95.5%. So it basically means that persons were paying on average about 95% of the original listing price back in January. And see what's happening? By April, you have people paying about 97% of the original price to close. So basically sellers are getting closer to the actual listing price. Now it could be a couple of things. It could be that buyers are willing to pay more for the homes. They recognize, okay, there is still interest, so we're not going to make outrageous offers where we're offering maybe 50,000 below asking. We're going to offer a little close to asking, and it could be, and I think that's what's going on as well, is that you have a lot of sellers who are really understanding the market, and they want to sell, and they realize, okay, I need to sell, I need to price this closer to market value. I think the days sellers starting to realize the days of $100,000 over asking for most communities are behind us. Mind you, you still have those happening in certain communities. I'd be happy to discuss that with you. Feel free to reach out to me, we can talk about that. But for the most part, those days have diminished. So I think sellers are pricing a lot more in keeping with the market realities. And so it's a good situation overall. So as we head more into the summer, further into the summer, it'll be interesting to see if this average goes up, goes down. I think it'll probably be about the same place, because people who want to sell, they've had a year to really marinate and see, okay, this is the new reality. This is not 2021, 2022 anymore. I need to price this in a way that buyers understand that I need to sell, I want to sell, I want to do a deal. And so I think they're pricing accordingly, and I think that's what's being reflected in this graphic, in this average. All right, so as usual, what I will say is that I think the market is interesting. I think there's room, whether you're buying or selling, there's room to get the opportunities, there's room to get the home that you want. I think with understanding the community that you're trying to get into or you're trying to sell out of is definitely the start. One of the things as realtors we do is we offer a comparative market analysis where we really give you the accurate figures. Some of these real estate websites, they don't have access to some of the material that we have. We have accurate and up-to-date information on what homes are selling at. So when we provide that comparative market analysis, it really tells you what's going on, helps you make the right decision. It's not all doom and gloom. I know depending on what you read or what you watch, it may sound doom and gloom, and the reality is it just depends on what you need and what you're doing. There are opportunities for you. So feel free, reach out to me. Happy to talk to you about the numbers and talk to you about, what your goals are, and see, I do my best to help you out. Thanks so much for watching. So I hope you found the content interesting and informative. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing this again next month. Plus we have other videos about communities and other things happening in the market. So subscribe, send us a like, send us a comment. Love to hear from you. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and take care till next time.